Hello everybody, this is a video in which I describe the three most impactful accusations against Islam in our society today. These three arguments are not necessarily good arguments, but they are strong at swaying people's views of Islam in a short period of time. The three misconceptions I will bring up are being used day in and day out by opponents of Islam, and many unlearned people take these accusations as strong points against the religion, when in fact they are very weak when you get to the core of it. Now let's go straight to it, shall we? Accusation number one. If Muslims want mutual respect, why is it we allow Muslims to build mosques in Western countries, yet you cannot build a church in a Muslim country? You hear this cry very often, and it is often backed up and supported by many people on all fields of life, whether politically or socially. Everyday people see this as a direct discrimination and one-sided tolerance. Now, even though this accusation is popular, it most definitely is not true. The only nation in the world that does not allow churches is Saudi Arabia, a country that accounts itself as apparently 100% Muslim. It's a political theocracy, not really a democracy. What good would a church do there? Little did we hear that Qatar, a 95% Muslim country, constructed a $15 million church just 2 years ago for its 2% Christian population. Its first new church in 1,400 years, with talks of more to come. Now, as far as I could tell, if Islam was all about the destruction of other religions, why do churches still exist in Muslim countries? Why is not every church now a mosque? Why are not all Christians now Muslim? They had 1,400 years to do it. I have seen and heard of churches in abundance found in Muslim nations like Algeria, Bahrain, Bangladesh, Egypt, Indonesia, Iran, Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, Libya, Morocco, Pakistan, Qatar, Syria, Turkey, UAE, Yemen. So when they ask why a church is not built in Saudi Arabia, it is like saying why a mosque is not built in the Vatican. It makes no sense to the apparent demographics. As far as I know, churches could still be built in many Muslim countries, yet prior to acceptance, there are meetings and guidelines to be brought up. There was a case here in Sydney, Australia, where a brothel was allowed construction, whilst an Islamic school was not. So let's not pretend that discrimination is one way. Let us not forget the Swiss have banned the buildings of minarets, and the French have also banned the burqa. Do we also forget that Saudi Arabia is an American ally? So this misconception is said loud and is most definitely not true. Many churches are still in use today in Muslim countries. Muslim countries still build churches, and the only nation that does not allow it strictly is Saudi Arabia, and talks are underway to change this. Accusation number two. The Quran is abrogated. The verse of the sword in the 9th surah abrogates all the older peaceful verses. The Prophet started off nicely in Mecca. Then in Medina, he changed to a violent warlord and an intolerant tyrant. This is a very popular misconception that is uttered on TV debates every day to the likes of Wafa Sultan, Pamela Greer, Noni Darwish, and more. Many people claim that one of the last surahs revealed, the 9th chapter in the Quran, is an intolerant chapter full of violence and intolerance, which abrogates all the older peaceful verses. First of all, is it not ridiculous that one chapter of the Quran abrogates the other 113 chapters? People actually say this as a fact. Secondly, abrogation only occurs in context. For example, if a verse was revealed in peaceful times, in a peaceful environment, with peaceful people, it could not be abrogated by a verse revealed in violent times, in a violent environment, with violent people. That is utter nonsense. The whole claim that the Prophet was a peaceful, tolerant man during his early years of prophethood, then changed to an intolerant bigot when he gained power in Medina, is unsubstantiated. There are peaceful and tolerant verses found in the Prophet's early and final stages of life. If you study the Quran, it becomes clear that accusation is 100% incorrect. In his 23 years of revelation, the Prophet was consistent within his character and always stood up for justice, tolerance, and mercy, even when confronted with violence. For example, the popular verse, "There is no compulsion in religion," was revealed in Medina during his apparent intolerant period. The verse which admits righteous Christians and Jews was revealed in, you got it, Medina. The verse in which it states to surrender to peace if your enemy surrenders to peace and to not transgress was revealed also in Medina. You get my drift. The claim that the Prophet changed as a person from Mecca to Medina is nothing but a myth. They claim it to show inconsistency of character and to prove he was nothing but a power-hungry warlord who only wanted to subjugate and suppress people, ignoring the fact that his final conquest of Mecca in his last steps of life was entirely peaceful. Accusation number 3. Muslims are using taqiyya. Their aim is to take over the world, force Sharia law on Western nations, declare jihad on us, and all the moderates are practicing deception to fulfill their Islamic agenda. This is another ruthless attack against Muslims that is gaining popularity fast. The word taqiyya is being used by non-Arabs to confuse Western non-Muslims into thinking Muslims, both extreme and moderate, are deceiving them. I, as a Muslim, did not even hear about the word taqiyya until I heard it uttered by a non-Muslim, non-Arab Islamophobe on the news. The word taqiyya means to cover up or conceal one's faith to gain advantage. Taqiyya is only meant to be used if a Muslim's life is in imminent danger and lying about their faith would save them from death or injury. This is nothing but a survival tactic. Yet whenever you hear a moderate Muslim speak out against extremism, apparently he is using taqiyya or deception. Whenever a Muslim promotes interfaith dialogue and tolerance, apparently he is using taqiyya. Whenever a Muslim defends his faith against baseless claims and false accusations, apparently he is using taqiyya. That would be me. Do you not see this is a tactic to corner Muslims and bundle them all into one group? Whether terrorists or moderates, we're all the same. Apparently, moderate Muslims do support terrorists, and if they claim they do not, they are lying. Apparently, if a Muslim is nice to a non-Muslim, they are only pretending to be nice. The word taqiyya is used by Western non-Muslims. They love to throw around Arabic words and twist their meanings and intentions to confuse their non-Arab audiences into thinking they have cracked some sort of code in Islam. Taqiyya, Sharia, Jihad, you hear these words uttered by them more than Muslims themselves. People are being taught to not trust Muslims, and they claim that it is a part of a Muslim's faith to deceive people. And this is an outright lie, and sadly I'm hearing it more and more, and it is an extremely frustrating tag to have. These are the 3 greatest and most impactful misconceptions and accusations against Muslims today, which are growing in trend and are being seen as truth, swaying people's views very quickly. Little do they know that taqiyya is coming from political deceivers aiming to cause distrust amongst the people and a rift between faiths. Don't fall for it. Salam alaikum.